Shonen fans love to brag about their favorite scenes, characters, and stories, good or bad. There tends to be a debate within the fandom as to which of the manga being read is the arc that defines shonen manga. Without Osamu Tezuka's Astro Boy, shonen manga wouldn't be as notorious or big today. Astro is Japan's greatest hero and the defender of the innocent. The character, being a robot and designed literally as a kid, drives home a lot of the point of childlike wonder and the endless hope and optimism for the world, the ideal he represents. His stories weren't shy from dealing with dark and sad matters. There is so much heart, charm, and charisma to the character and the stories for so many reasons. Tezuka didn't talk down to his readers. Many of Tezuka's earlier works strongly reflect his ideas about war, peace, and humanity. Politics are a significant part of Astro Boy's DNA. It doesn't dive too deep into the world-class politics as certain pertains to the robots and the future of life itself. It also touches upon some of the most existential aspects of having humanity. Tezuka has always been incredibly vocal and a political humanist in matters like this, with some of his later manga even condemning the Japanese involvement in the Vietnam War, Japanese discrimination against Koreans in the post-war period, and American discrimination against African Americans during and after the war. When he wrote Pluto, he was designed as a villain, but there was more to him than just being evil. It comes with two panels in which Tezuka explains the process of writing the original manga and how much fans protest his storytelling with the Pluto arc. Pluto's main goal is to defeat the most powerful robots on the planet. He was the greatest of them all, but he lacked one thing that Astro had, his humanity and potential other than battle. It's where we get introduced to Sultan, the secondary antagonist. He represents humanity lost for power and recognition. His actions are rooted in his desire to reclaim his country and become the master of all the world. First of all, before understanding the people who desire power, we must first understand power itself and what it means for these individuals. Power is an ability to have a certain influence over an event, a person, and so on that allow people to shape them to their wants. To these people, power means control over their lives, people, the systems, everything. In reality, everyone wants power in some way or another. However, events experienced by these people may let them come to realize a certain belief or a way of thinking that relates to power. Sultan created Pluto to be a representation of his will, a tool made for destruction rather than preserving life. Humans have an attractively bad ability to balance their primordial instincts with reality. Humans are capable of surviving horrifically bleak situations, thriving in remarkably hostile environments. Pluto pushes Astros to his absolute limits, having our protagonist reflect on his existence as a robot, even calling Pluto evil when there is more to him than doing bad things. Astro is a robot created to create peace for mankind, yet after losing that battle, he asked the professor for 1,000,000 horsepower to defeat Pluto. The professor rejects it because more power will not solve the problem. Although the cliche says that power always corrupts, what is seldom is that power always reveals. Good people that wield power are often taken over by selfish and greedy people that wield power because power is enticing to those who want to abuse it. Many characters in this arc have the power to do anything. For many, power is closely tied to their self-identity. Achieving power can enhance one's self-worth, leading to a stronger sense of self. Things like Uran pretending to be like her brother, depriving herself of her femininity in order to become an ideal he was, struggling between wanting to fight what she wants to do and wanting to be a little girl and what she expects to do with those around her. Tezuka introduces the other robots that explores the morals of this arc. Gerhardt, who believes his sense of honor is to arrest Pluto and put him on trial. His intentions are understandable, but he has no solution to stop the violence or prevent Pluto from destroying the other robots. He is an instrument of the state, a weapon just like the enemy. Despite his golden exterior, his existence as a machine is a subject to the law, but his own urge for justice leads to Gerhardt to his death. Peace has a finite definition. No matter from what perspective a person stands, peace has a distinct meaning, that of tranquility, the absence of war, chaos, destruction, etc. On the other hand, justice is mostly based on a matter of perspective. Pluto begins to act less mechanically and more humanly. In their second fight, instead of the two fighting, Pluto appreciates Astro's kindness and how his life has been affected by his mere existence. Pluto is programmed to fulfill this purpose and intentionally believes that his duty is the most important thing. However, as he interacts with the other robots and humans, he begins to question his programming and develop a sense of empathy. Astro has a crisis about his purpose, something that he cannot fathom, or whether he wants the power to defeat him or not. Wanting the power to have a sense of self-worth is when we are introduced to Epsilon, this Australian solar power robot. Epsilon possesses a strong sense of right and wrong, which guides his actions and choices. Much of Epsilon's interactions with Pluto is his aversion to fighting and taking lives. Compared to robots like Hercules, he does not enjoy fighting or watching people, including his enemies, get hurt. Pacifism is frequently dismissed as naive idealism or moral cowardice. His pacifist beliefs align with the idea that all individuals deserve to live free from violence and oppression. Epsilon is what we should all aspire to be. He serves as a parallel to Astro and the potential he has to achieve peace. What unites these diverse approaches is not the absolute rejection of all force, an understanding that preventing violence requires sustained work to address the root causes and not just refusing to participate in the war. Despite being stuck under the ocean, Epsilon didn't save Pluto. He is a pacifist and has the power to save him, yet his cowardice shows that he is afraid of dying and doesn't want to be disconnected from the children he raised. He saves Pluto from drowning and acknowledges his mistakes. Love helps heal the heart and nourish your mind, body, and soul. Love is a strong emotion representing human kindness and a deep affection. Pluto tells Uran he has no human feelings, but he still goes out of his way to help Astro and save Uran. Pluto is conflicted about his duty because he is a mere tool created to kill other robots, but he shows human emotion towards Uran. It's where Epsilon and Pluto get to duke it out. Epsilon's pacifistic ideals are often put him at odds with other robots, especially those who are more focused on war and power. He avoids the fighting, focusing more on the battle and saving a child. Instead of winning the battle, he decides to save a child who was traumatized by the events, hence leaving him defenseless and was eventually defeated by Pluto. He demonstrates that even in the face of danger, choosing to act with love and empathy can make a significant difference. The final battle is a culmination of what the two have learned from humanity. Astro does not use his million horsepower to finish Pluto off, but instead challenges him to a fair fight as an equal. Astro restrains himself from killing Pluto and perceives him rationally with love and compassion. Astro wants to be powerful to beat Pluto fair and square, but it comes at the cost of his morals and ethics he valued. Instead of defeating Pluto like that, it was Astro's inherent kindness and nobility that saved the day, not his strength or special abilities. It's when Boro appears. Boro is not at all like Pluto. He is a plot device that exists to destroy. Boro is a machine without a will of his own, the opposite of humanity. Pluto values life to some extent and has begun to see Astro's point of view. He has to fight the stronger robots that have no will or personality that exist to cause more war. Pluto must accept the fact that he was created for war. He is no longer fighting for himself, but for Astro. At first, Pluto wants nothing more than to fulfill his duty, but soon as he realized that strength isn't everything, and befriended Astro before meeting his tragic demise. The mastermind behind all of this was a robot who assaulted a servant who confessed about no longer serving his master, but developed a will of his own to prove how something. He proves one thing that mankind never truly altruistically strives for the highest good, quite the opposite, in fact. And most people strive for what's good for themselves in a selfish sort of way. Without some sense of moral philosophy, everything we do will be paid in for blood. Without some sense of existentialism, we will have no drive at all. Adding a prominent theme about humanity's ego and needless hatred. Keep in mind, this manga was created in the 1950s. It wasn't flashy, but had a good story about demonstrating a strong moral compass and a sense of duty, which many shonen protagonists would take inspiration from Astro Boy. The end of the arc asks the question of what robots are truly fighting for. Tezuka designed this arc to grapple with the questions of humanity and the ethics of violence.